No one expected Milan to become part of the WNBA storyline this quickly or this globally. Caitlin Clark was supposed to be adjusting to professional defenses and navigating the pressures of a rookie season in the Women's National Basketball Association. Instead, cameras flashed thousands of miles away at Milan Fashion Week, where she appeared front row at Prada. Athletes attending fashion shows isn't new, but timing is everything, and Clark's appearance came as her brand momentum was already accelerating. Following her high-profile partnership with Gatorade, many assumed her next move would remain within the traditional sports endorsement lane, footwear, apparel, or performance gear. Instead, she stepped directly into the luxury space, a realm that typically aligns itself with long-term cultural influence rather than short-term hype. Luxury brands evaluate trajectory, longevity, and global resonance before extending invitations, which made the optics of Clark's Milan presence feel strategic rather than celebratory. Seated among celebrities, designers, and international figures, the moment signaled positioning on a broader stage. The WNBA has produced iconic champions and cultural leaders for decades, players who sustained and elevated the sport through challenging eras, but this felt like a different kind of breakthrough, not necessarily louder, but wider, expanding the conversation about women's basketball into entirely new global arenas.
This is relevant because it is what is happening with off-season Caitlin Clark. Like, this is as relevant as anything going on in Unrivaled. And at least tomorrow there's some games. When does Unrivaled end next week? Does Unrivaled end this week? When do they go to Miami? I don't really know. The Unrivaled final. So the last regular season game is Friday. Tomorrow at a reasonable hour. Hive Lunar Owls missed vinyl, which is irrelevant. And the Rose play the Phantom, which is kind of irrelevant again. So Saturday, and the final is on Monday. Is it? Or is that on the 4th? No, sorry. The semi-finals are on Monday. The quarterfinals are on Saturday. Ah, yes, there's 2 quarterfinals. So the Hive have
Caitlin Clark wasn't simply representing Indiana or even just the Women's National Basketball Association when she appeared in Milan. She was stepping into a broader global cultural lane. And when an athlete crosses into that space, leagues begin recalculating. Modern sports organizations measure far more than points and assists. They track brand expansion, international search trends, cross-market engagement, and corporate alignment. Clark's appearance at Milan Fashion Week, particularly at Prada, generated attention well beyond the traditional basketball ecosystem. European media coverage increased, luxury audiences engaged, and fashion platforms amplified her visibility. That represents a different tier of influence, one rooted in cultural integration rather than purely athletic performance. Her earlier partnership with Gatorade had already elevated conversations about her commercial ceiling and retail traction, but Milan added another dimension: crossover appeal. Cultural integration expands an athlete's reach beyond sports fans to lifestyle consumers, fashion enthusiasts, and global brand communities. When that kind of expansion happens, it subtly reshapes industry dynamics. League executives aren't necessarily alarmed, but they are attentive because rapid international growth around one player can accelerate broader strategic shifts. Marketing priorities evolve, global partnerships gain urgency, and long-standing ambition for international visibility suddenly feel more attainable.
Caitlin Clark could literally play as a naturalized player for any country in the world. I think any country in the world will give her a passport. If Caitlin Clark decides she just wants to be the most unpatriotic person ever and just goes, screw America, she could literally play for whatever country she wants because of the FIBA naturalization rule, because anyone will give her a passport. That being said, she's going to play for Team USA. She is with Eileen Gu, which is hilarious, which is absolutely hilarious, with the whole Winter Olympics stuff around her. It was absolutely hilarious. Why is she cheapening her public image? Taking a picture with, I mean this when I say this, the highest paid female athlete in the world. What are we doing? What are we doing? And Caitlin Clark front row at the Prada show for Milan Fashion Week. Obviously, Caitlin Clark has been working with Prada since at least draft night. I don't know if it was before draft night. It might have been before that. And
Clark's Milan moment arrived at a time when the Women's National Basketball Association is actively thinking about expansion teams, evolving media rights, greater leverage in negotiations, and increased sponsorship visibility. Her presence on that stage aligned with those ambitions. But rapid alignment can also create tension. When one athlete's brand accelerates dramatically, comparisons naturally intensify. Angel Reese continues building a powerful identity rooted in culture and confidence, while A'ja Wilson remains championship royalty with an established legacy. The league is filled with elite talent deserving of visibility. Clark's rise doesn't erase that, but it undeniably shifts the center of gravity, and gravity influences where resources flow. When brands recognize global crossover potential, investment patterns follow. When international audiences respond, networks take notice. When luxury houses extend invitations, perception expands beyond sport. Clark appearing alongside global figures such as Eileen Gu amplified the symbolism, Olympic prestige, fashion credibility, and international youth influence converging in one space. She didn't look like a novelty guest. She appeared composed and integrated, signaling potential longevity beyond highlight reels. That kind of seamless crossover is rare, and rare assets tend to attract rare attention. Integration into luxury ecosystems often suggests long-term conversations happening quietly behind the scenes, conversations that precede larger announcements. The league may not be shocked, but it is undoubtedly adjusting, because if Clark's trajectory continues crossing industries at this pace, the WNBA's global identity could evolve faster than originally projected. This isn't about distraction, it's about adding dimension to what women's basketball can represent on the world stage.
Anyone being like, oh, you know, it's going to make Fashion Week. Like, that's just not a thing. Like, that, but her being there is somehow one of the more relevant things in the women's basketball world. As the WNBA shared this post, and I do find it hilarious where I'm like, the league itself will share that, and I'm like, if the WNBA are smart, they would go all in on any player that's refusing to play in any other league. As in, like, if Caitlin Clark played in Unrivaled, and Unrivaled had all this crazy viewership, like, there is a world where the WNBA, where they say about Unrivaled, like, okay, yeah, we're good.
Modern athletes operate as multi-platform brands, where on-court excellence fuels off-court opportunity and off-court visibility, in turn, amplifies on-court marketability. It's a feedback loop, and Caitlin Clark's loop appears to be accelerating. That acceleration raises a larger question. Is she becoming simply the face of a franchise, or the face of a new era for the Women's National Basketball Association? The distinction matters. A franchise cornerstone transforms a local market. An era-defining figure reshapes global strategy. Her recent visibility, from major corporate backing by Gatorade to her poised appearance at Milan Fashion Week, suggests a trajectory that extends beyond basketball headlines. Luxury spaces value stability within momentum, narrative longevity, personality consistency, and cultural adaptability. Clark's reserved composure and disciplined public presence align with that framework, signaling not fleeting hype but sustainable crossover appeal. Moments like Milan become strategic data points in broader league calculations. Media rights discussions, sponsorship renewals, and expansion ambitions all weigh star-driven global awareness. Crossover broadens audience. Broader audiences expand revenue potential, and revenue potential inevitably influences bargaining leverage. This isn't about rivalry, it's about scale. Scale separates stars from icons, and icons transcend sport. The runway lights may have dimmed, but the perception lingered that the league ceiling stretched a bit higher. Clark didn't need to make a declaration. Her presence alone hinted at a widening global footprint. If this trajectory continues, future seasons may be defined not just by standings or ratings, but by how far the league's identity extends beyond the hardwood.
Tastes the same.
Even better than I remember. It's not even close.
And it's got your face on.
Hey, Gatorade, man, y'all need to kick some of that over to KTV, man. Hold on, y'all getting a lot of free promo over here. Caitlin Clark, Tyrese Halliburton going viral with this new Gatorade content, man. This is everywhere at this point. I see it being posted pretty much everywhere, and hopefully we can get to some actual Caitlin Clark hoop footage in the very near future if a CBA deal gets done. Let's take a look at this here. All right, man. So we got new Caitlin Clark Gatorade content coming up, man. Oh, these are fire. You see these shoes? These are fire. These are fire. Those are super fire. So we have that. And now I want to get into some things that Rachel Demita said. I think she was spot on with quite a few things here in regards to this whole WNBA situation that's going on. Obviously, Adam Silver said what he had to say, and then
Clark's willingness to step beyond traditional sports boundaries signals something larger about where the Women's National Basketball Association currently stands. As growth accelerates, attention multiplies, and corporate interest deepens, her crossover into spaces like Milan Fashion Week suggests the league's next chapter could unfold on a far more global stage. Caitlin Clark isn't just expanding her personal brand. She's testing how far women's basketball can travel culturally. The real question isn't whether Milan surprised observers, it's whether it marked the beginning of sustained shift. If so, this era won't simply redefine visibility for one player or even one league. It could reshape how women's sports integrate into global culture at large, altering sponsorship models, media narratives, and the scale at which female athletes are positioned worldwide.